Hello, everyone, and welcome to Off the Wall. My name is Sol. I'm here with Jason to talk about the Loki season finale. Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank God the strike is over. That's all I gotta say. We'll get more
Right.
into it in a little bit, but thank God the strike's over.
Yes. I'm gonna throw it over to you first. Your non-spoiler thoughts of this episode.
Hmm. What's the best way to describe my feelings right now about that episode? Um, Confused would be the easiest way. I don't know how I feel. I am hoping that by the end of our conversation I can grade it on whether or not I liked it or not.
Mm.
It's up in the air because part of me wants to hate this, and then the other part of
Mhm.
me is like, because I'm just like, what the hell, Marvel? Like, but then the other part of me is like, it could have been worse. It wasn't She-Hulk. I mean, like, like
True, true.
this scale is like I'm like all over the place. How about yourself?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought the visuals were great. I thought the acting from Tom Hiddleston was great. Uh, Everyone around him was funny because they were just like reacting to Loki and what Loki was doing, and their faces just made me laugh. Um, this episode had a lot of humor. It had heart, had some sadness. Um, I feel like this was such a better finale than the season 1 finale, and
Radcliffe.
it makes the season 1 finale now better in a way because now we kinda get the ending to that story. That should not have ever been a season finale. There should have been an extra episode after that, but now seeing season 2 and, like, the continuation of that story, and then the way it ends now, I'm like, this is an actual finale. This is not a wait, what? So I really, really liked this, and I'm ready to get further into it. Maybe you'll really like it by the end of our conversation.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Uh, well, let's get into it. Let's go straight into spoilers, people. Spoiler alert for this episode, all of season 2, all of season 1, all of Loki. All right. So we got a little time traveler Loki here. We have for a while, but he real time traveling in this episode.
Oh yeah, he
Uh,
is.
he goes back to right before the temporal loom explodes and tries to change the outcome. And we get to see, well, mostly here, but we get to see Timely die over and over and over and over again. Um, Timely has to go down there faster for it to work. And just the music that we have the disco version of Beethoven's Fifth going on, everyone's faces to like Loki knowing more and more and like finishing their sentences or even just saying their sentences before they're going to say it and like going back a little bit earlier in time each time to try to fix something and him even too going, how much time would it take for me to learn all the mechanics, physics, and engineering that you would know, Obi? And they're and it gets to like, oh, it takes centuries, and then you get the title card, centuries later. So Loki's been at this for a while. And honestly, this was so funny to me just because of the music and like everyone's faces. I was legitimately laughing out loud multiple times. Before we get to the extra stuff that happens in this temporal loom stage, your thoughts on the Timely dying over and over again, the disco version of Beethoven's Fifth, and just Loki being Loki in everyone's faces.
I wanted more. That's the part that that I don't like. There's parts of this that I wanted a little bit more. Like there was times when like Mobius, the reactions of Mobius, I wanted more of that. I wanted that
Yeah.
conversation with Mobius and Sylvie because you can see Sylvie's like looking at him, going like, "Wait, what's going on? What are you doing? Like,
She's
what's
way
going
more
on?"
inquisitive than everyone else.
Right, but there was no
Yeah.
like giving her that. There wasn't that time to let it breathe a little bit.
Mhm.
Think they could have let it breathe a little, where you would get individual people's reactions. Like when he walks into the conference room, you know, with Miss Minutes and goes like, "Miss Minutes, we need to stop this." Blah 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 blah, and you're like, Miss Minutes,
Mhm.
like what? Huh? I wanted like more, like everybody else's reactions, like, and I wanted. It felt like they were like we were supposed to just take that and keep going. Like there wasn't enough. Like it was. And you can see the look on his frustration on his face. I mean, the acting from Tom Hiddleston's great, but I wanted a little bit more, and that was the
Mm.
problem. Is I wanted it to breathe a little bit, and I feel like it's almost like when you open up a bottle of wine and you just open it and start drinking it immediately, and you're just not you don't let it
Mhm.
breathe to like get the flavors and
Yeah.
stuff, and let us sit in this for a second, or let because one of the things we've loved about this entire series is the interactions that Loki has had with
Mm.
Mobius and Sylvie, but yet we weren't given enough of that, or Obi or Obi. Like Obi's like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I can teach you this, but he's like, but still, there's not enough of like, why do I need to? Like it, like you could have easily been like, hey, listen, guys, I'm like traveling through blah 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 blah, and try to like kind of
Yeah.
explain it a little bit, but like they're not, and it just I just wanted just a hair more.
The reason why I was okay with it is because he didn't have time to explain, and it was basically you have, like, a ticking time bomb kind of, like, situation, and so to me, it made sense 'cause he got he was rushing even more and more each time, and so, like, it got to, like, just a little bit of rushing at first, and then he's, like, speaking so fast, and then he's going to earlier times, so, to me, I was understanding each moment of, like, why it was taking less and less time, and people were understanding less and less from him because he was speaking so fast, doing this, knowing so much knowledge that he's not supposed to know. So to me, it worked for me, but I can understand why it didn't work, and I would not have minded if this was an extra episode, not at all, because
Well,
I've really enjoyed this season.
the interesting thing about this is like is so, and I can totally understand that. It's just the fact is like, and this is the problem with introducing time travel into like this kind of time travel element into a show like this, is because the illogical question would be the fact is, well, he's traveling through time. Like, use one of the moments where you're going to fail and go like, hey, listen, blah 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 blah.
Mm,
I don't have time to explain. I've explained this already. And they do
yeah,
this a couple of times, but it's like, but I need to see that first.
mm,
It's just like it's like, it just give me
yeah,
like a 30-second thing of like, "See, this is the reason why we're failing." You know,
yeah,
give me I'll do better
yeah.
next time.
I
You know?
think the reason why is why say that if they're not gonna know that the next time and the next time and the next time? That's only for the audience, and that's not really for to the benefit of Loki or the people around him. So to me, I got it, but I
Mhm.
could understand your frustrations. Um, so now Loki knows all the science, and like I said, everyone's faces. It made it for me. It did it for me. Um, Timely makes it through the door now after dying multiple times. He finally makes it through. Um, and the way that Loki says in the "I'm so tired, I've been through a lot, you don't even know" monotone voice that he's been using, to "Be brave. You're being so brave. One foot in
Mhm.
front of the other. Well done." Like, that
Remember what I
Tom
told you.
Hiddleston's
Yeah.
delivery was so good. That I cracked up. I was laughing multiple times. Um Timely succeeds, and we finally get from the monotone voice of Loki to "Yes, go, go, go." Like, it's a complete change,
Yeah.
um,
Like, "Oh my god, we
from
did this." Yep.
he like, "We finally did it. I don't have to add an extra thing to remember it so that way this doesn't fail." And Timely succeeds, and we think, "Okay, now everything's good. Uh, the loom is now working. Look at how beautiful it looks." But then it starts overloading again. Too many branches that are duplicating, expanding at an infinite rate. And we get this line from Timely: "The loom will never accommodate for an infinitely growing multiverse. You can't scale for infinite. It's like trying to divide by zero. It can't be done." And Loki is devastated.
Devastated. Yep.
Thoughts on this portion?
This part was great because it this part was really good. I love the stuff where they're like they're succeeding. You see the look on their face. They're succeeding. It's the roller coaster ride where you're like
Mhm.
you're going up and you're like, "Oh my god, I got we got there. We got there. We got there." And you're like
Yeah.
and it's just like, "Oh." And you can just feel the fact is that you just see the look in their face of like everything is and it's just yeah. And the line of like you can't divide by zero is
Mhm.
great because it's like it's a great as a math person, it's one of those type deals
Yeah.
where I heard it and I was like, "Oh my god, that's great." And the fact
Yeah.
is like, yeah, again, it's fabulous acting from Jonathan Majors and Ke Huy Quan. I love him as Timely.
Yeah.
I absolutely and I'm honestly you're about
Yeah.
to talk about like what I yeah, we'll get to in a second, but like Jonathan Majors is this like this is a great Jonathan Majors is my MVP of this these episodes because of the fact is like he is kicking tail and like in these episodes. I just
Yeah.
really enjoy him in these episodes.
I was even thinking from, like, a point that they use a multiplier to make the loom bigger, and I was like, "How do we know that the multiplier is not also hitting the branches?" So that's what I thought at first it was, but it's like, no, the branches are already, like, dividing infinitely already, so it will multiplier probably didn't help, but it wasn't that, but at first I was like, "Oh, that's why it's not working." So, like, even then too, I was thinking on a scientific and mathematical way, and then when he says that line, I'm like, "That makes 100%
Mhm.
sense to me." But Loki then tries to go back to when Sylvie kills He Who Remains, and instead of, timely spaghettifying multiple times, we get the "See you soon" line multiple times. Jonathan Majors died a lot in this episode. Um, so Loki's in a loop of fighting Sylvie to save He Who Remains, and we get the line, "If you wanna stop me, you'll have to kill me." And Loki finally says to He Who Remains, "You gonna defend yourself?" Like, he gets so frustrated by that moment, like, "Yo, bro, like, you gonna do anything here? You just gonna let me fight this battle? Like, you know she's gonna kill you." Like, Um, he's Loki's getting tired of this shit, and He Who Remains pauses Sylvie, and him and Loki, like, have the smallest of little chats, and we even get the line like, "Oh, yeah, go through this 1,000 times more. Get your bearings,
Yeah.
and let me know when you're ready to have like, a conversation." So we go through the cycle a little bit more, and then, Loki's ready to have that conversation now. He now is the one that pauses, Sylvie, and so we learn that he's able to stop time. And in their conversation, we learn the TVA is kinda just a placeholder. The loom is what's important. The loom is the failsafe. It will destroy timelines once it goes through the loom to create the sacred timeline. And He Who Remains goes, "In this equation, you will always," and, like, Loki finishes, "lose." So, yeah, what is Loki best at? Losing, right? But, Loki has some plans to change this up. Thoughts on this, going back to the scene of the crime of the episode you and I did not like very much in season 1, but now seems better?
Um, I feel like this was I don't know if I there I mean, they would always say that this was the plan the whole entire time. I
Mhm.
call BS.
Right.
Um, I call the only reason why they did this was because of the fact is like is because of the um hate that the season one finale got.
Mm,
But I will have to say that the Jonathan Majors Loki conversation is my favorite part of this episode. Because it is fabulous. It's
yeah,
fabulous acting on Jonathan Majors. It's fabulous acting on Tom Hiddleston.
yeah,
The especially because you can see the fact is like he keeps calling him lover boy, which I thought was hilarious.
yeah.
Like it's like and at some points, like Loki turns the tide of like, when Loki realizes that he can stop time and does a little flip, like you can see the look on Tom Hiddleston, on Jonathan Majors, on he who remains face of like, oh snap, boy's got some
Oh,
power,
oh, oh, you learned that now because you didn't know that the last
right?
time we tried to have a chat.
It reminded me
Like,
so much. It reminded me so much of like Neo in the Matrix and the
mhm,
Merovingian. Is like, okay, this guy's got some skill. Like it's just like it's one of those type deals of like
yeah,
I loved it because it was like the showdown. That was one of the things I loved about the second Matrix movie was because of the Merovingian and Neo's like you know
mhm.
combativeness in their conversation. And it's like it's so and again it's this what makes this work. The If I had to nitpick this, it's one simple thing. If you had to choose, why would you not just kill her? And I understand the fact is that like
'Cause
your
he's
friend,
in love with her.
and it's such a oh god, it's so
'Cause
lame,
he's in love with himself.
right? It's the part about this that I'm just like, again, it's one of those things where I was just like, I loved it, but I was just like at the same time you're going like, does it make sense that he would be because he almost you can see where like he was gonna kill her, and it looked like he was gonna kill her, like, and he wanted to,
But then
and
he
it just
couldn't.
yeah,
And,
but
one of my favorite things too was, when He Who Remains is like, "You ready to have this conversation now?" He goes, "What makes you think this is the first time we've had this conversation?" And he's like, Well done. You're
right.
my favorite."
That was
That
honestly
was
like it was
fantastic.
fantastic. It was fantastic. I like it was just it was such a great little moment, and it's making me Kang is Kang, and Kang is a great, and
Mhm.
I want more Kang, and it makes me
Yeah.
want more Kang, but and yeah, it's
And Kang is full of himself. He Who Remains is full of himself, and you can see that too, even, like, making fun of Victor Timely and his, stutter.
that was great. That was
I
so
was just
good.
like, "Oh, that's not
That's cold. That's
nice."
cold. And it's like
Right?
that was so cold because it was
Yeah.
almost like he's like, haha, I got you. Like, it's like
Yeah.
I did this whole, that was my plan the whole time just to mess with you. And it's just like,
Right.
oh, so good.
Well, then, Loki goes back to when he was first taken by the TVA, the room that him and Mobius had that first talk in the first episode of this show in season 1. And he's kinda asking Mobius why things are the way they are, like, "Why do you choose to do this?" And Mobius tells a story about a variant that would be responsible for 5,000, people's deaths, but when they got there, it was just a kid, like, swimming with his brother, and he hesitated, and because he hesitated and he lost sight of the big picture, his partner took that over, but not without a few TVA members passing away. And we learn, yeah, that's the story of that hunter, that was Mobius, his partner was Renslayer there, and this reminded me back in, Endgame when Rhodey was like, "Why don't we go to when Thanos was a baby and just kill him then?" kind of thing. And it's that whole thought of like, "Oh, if you had a time machine, would you go back in time to when Hitler was born and kill him? Would you stop someone?" And then it's like the morality of that, do you kill someone before they do the heinous act, even when they're still an innocent human being? And there's been a lot of philosophical papers on that, and probably will be more philosophical papers on that. Um, but we do get the line from Mobius: "Most purpose is more burden than glory." Trust me, you don't want to be the guy who avoids it because you can't live with the burden. Loki is Loki thanks Mobius, shakes his hand, and Mobius spaghettifies, which I this is the part where I'm like, I don't understand why he's spaghettifying in this moment. And is this just for like the aesthetic? Is this a stylistic choice? Because he's going back in time to a point in time where they were already together and this happened. So there's no reason for him to spaghettify right now other than like this looks cool and this like will be more symbolic than actually making any sense at all. So do you understand why he was spaghettified in that moment? And thoughts on the conversation with Loki and Mobius?
Um, my favorite line is the one where it's like, "How do you deal with the burden?" And then Mobius's response is just simple, "Scar tissue." And I
Yeah.
just like it. That was the part that I was just like, "Wow!" Like it's just like you just have to carry it. Like there's no way
Hmm.
to deal. You're not gonna ever deal with it. You just, it'll
Yeah.
get easier with time, but it'll always be a part of you. And it's one of those type deals where that had me.
Yeah.
That was a moment where I was like, yeah, that was good. That's a really good line.
Yeah.
Um, I think the spaghettifying leads into the next scene, because it's basically like he's losing Mobius all over again, and
Mhm.
he's gonna have to lose Mobius, and I think that's what it is. He's like that's one of the reasons why he shakes his hand is because he knows he has to lose him he feels like he has to lose him in order to have this
Yeah.
moment, and
And lose his friends.
yeah, he's gonna have to lose his friends, and he's secretly and Mobius is his friend, and then he goes and talks to the other one that just his other part of him that so basically to get I don't know, it's just it's a good cut scene. It's a good shift way to transition between the two scenes. And I yeah, that was great.
Mm. So we go back to Obi's 1994 lab, the best year ever on the face of this earth, because certain someone was born that year. Um, and you get that scene that everyone was spaghettifying that I was like, oh my god, that's so sad when it originally happened, and it's sad to see it again over, especially when you know
Hmm.
how these people mean to what these people mean to Loki. But Loki stops time to have a chat with Sylvie. And this is another chat about free will. And to me, this chat that they had together felt like one of the most real scenes we got from Sylvie. Because if I do have any criticism of this season, is that I don't know if they knew what they were doing with Sylvie, other than just being like a side character that's like because everything with like Loki and Mobius, Loki and Victor Timely, Loki and OB, uh, Casey, everyone else kind of had more to do, more purpose than I think Sylvie did this season. And so this was the one time that I'm like, oh, this is like an actual real moment between Loki and Sylvie. So how'd you feel about this chat?
This chat was I felt the same way. This was one of those moments where I feel like this chat would this whole entire there wasn't enough character development for Sylvie in this entire series, and I feel like it hurts this scene because of it. Because you're telling me all this stuff of like I grew up in a apocalypse, blah blah blah. Blah. I grew up. This is the reason why I am. Instead of showing us to make our like instead of showing us, it's like you're telling us instead of showing us. And it's not to me. It's not. It doesn't hit the emotionality of it where you're supposed to feel the emotional weight between the two characters and you're not because they haven't I don't feel like they put enough work in season 1 and in season 2 to get us to this point, and it's overall it's like you're rushing. I feel like
Mm,
you just needed more weight, and it just there wasn't enough weight to
mm,
get to the scene. But like the scene that the line that I did like was like, what, I'm not going to give you my blessing.
you're right.
He's basically asking for permission. It's like, and that was good, but but again, it needs more emotional weight. You needed more work in the previous episodes in order to get to this point. And yeah,
Yeah. I feel like because to me, I think she was done well in season one and not as well in season two. And so I feel like they were trying to go off the more of the emotional weight of their relationship from season 1, and that's why, like, the scene worked for me, but it was just like, "Oh, we're finally having, like, an actual real scene between these 2 instead of just, like, the bar scene." But, this season where I was, like, wanting more of Sylvie, I guess, this season that we didn't get, but that's fine because everything else was really good this season. Um, but Loki goes back to before the temporal loom explodes once more, and he walks through the doors instead of Victor Timely this time, and he doesn't spaghettify. He, changes his outfit because you gotta be glam before you go and sit on a throne, and he breaks the loom and revives the dying branches by touching them, and he walks to the castle at the end of time, sits on his throne, and the branches now look like the tree of life. So how'd you feel about, this little? Because he said before, "I'm gonna break the loom," and He Who Remains was like, "That will ruin everything," but, Loki did it anyways, and he figured out a way to make it work.
The visual part of the visual part of them building the tree, um, of building Idrisil was like I thought was was it was great. It was great.
Stunning.
It was stunningly beautiful to like watch it, the visual thing. Um, it was a little, as I would say, like you kind of saw this coming. It's like, and I feel like you and I talked about this last time, where you felt like it was either good, there was going to be a sacrifice of some sort between Loki and Silva. We talked about in the last one. Um,
I mean, I was right. I said he was gonna become He Who Remains, and that's what happened. So, I mean, I'm happy because I was right.
you were right. Um, but like again, there was like there's I thought that was really good, especially as the suit is melting away, and then
Mhm.
um and instead of him going, like I know people would have been like naked Tom Hiddleston would have been better, but I was like, yeah, but it would just been like, but like show off that Marvel bod, but like showing, and then you get this Loki outfit, and which I thought was which was kind of cool. And then him screaming when he breaks the loom apart and then starts pulling everything, all the branches back together, was just super cool. And it was really cool to look and watch. It's just again, it was a little, and the visuals were great. It's just what we got here. It's a really interesting. Um, it's really interesting how how they did how they went to it.
Yeah. I I thought, and maybe it's because like, the visuals, like, it was just stunning. It looked beautiful, and then I was like, "Oh, the tree of life."
Hmm.
Like, and literally, I was just there like, and then the screen goes black, and I was like, I pressed my thing to be like, "Wait, there's more?" Like, how is this ending? Because honestly, they could have just ended it there, and I would have been like, "Okay, bold choice."
Yep.
Um but we get a title card. It says after, period. Um, the posters for the TVA are now the Tree of Life. Miss Minutes is back. Hopefully not murderous, but she's back. They're looking for variants of He Who Remains. Mobius reports about one who caused a ruckus on Earth 616, but it was handled. I'm
Marvel
assuming this
reference.
is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Marvel
Uh,
reference. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Although there is still there's a fight between Kevin Feige and the nerds, including Aman Vellani, on that it is not designation 616, it's designation 199999. You even get that in the Spider-Verse. So when Kevin Feige was like, "Oh, this is 616 now," like the nerds were like, "No, that's the comic book. This is a different designation already." But I guess we're still gonna go on with 616 here.
It's
Uh
yep.
yeah, what Kevin Feige says goes. Um Mobius goes back to his timeline goes back to the timeline and sees his life, finally learns about it. Uh, Timely does not get the guidebook, so I wonder if there's going to be any more with Victor Timely in the future, if that was just it for his story, and we'll deal with the other variants of Kang. Um, I don't know what the fuck that was with Renslayer.
Oh, I think that's Kang.
We'll, we'll find out. I think that's Kang,
That's
but
Kang
like,
showing up.
yeah, yeah, but like where she woke up, like where is that? What's going on there? We'll find out. But right now I'm like, the fuck? And but not like a bad the fuck, like a we'll find that out later. Good little tease there. But also the fuck? And we don't get a post-credit scene. So thoughts on this after? Thoughts on the end of this season, the end of the show, I think. Everything as a whole.
There's some interesting things that they have set up now. Um, the Timely, um,
Mm,
being a part of it, and the fact is, I love the Quantumania, like the little Quantumania reference. I even rewound it a little bit just so I could make sure that that's exactly what they were referencing. I love the 616 shout out to calling it Earth 616. I love Mobius. Basically, like Mobius delivers the line, and they end up talking about it. Um, I loved Casey and OB when they reboot Miss Minutes and get her back online, and then Casey's like, "She's not gonna kill us again, is she?" And OB's like, "Hmm, she could. I don't know."
right.
Um,
Oh, you make me feel so good, Obi.
right?
Like,
Um, Hunter B15 walking into the war room, and then Mobius is like, "Yo, I'm done. I think I need to be done because I miss my friend and I don't want to do this anymore." Um, I love the fact is that like he's sitting there watching, but then he's the creepy old dude just like sitting there watching a house, which I was like, oh, okay, that's a little weird. Um, but I get it. Um, and also how they, basically Sylvie just walks off. Where are you going? And Sylvie's like, wherever I want.
is it creepy if you're watching yourself?
I know that's the weird part about it. I'm just like, what? Yeah,
I don't think it's creepy.
yeah. I'm hoping we're gonna get him back in one of these other movies, but I don't think so. Um, but I definitely the purple with there's a my friend I've talked about him before, but my friend Brian and I were discussing this and he was saying that like Renslayer is definitely not dead. She's in like this the place where they go prune people.
Mhm,
And then that's where N Kang shows up to grab her. And I think that's the universe and grabs her. And I think that's what's gonna happen here is that's definitely
mhm,
Kang showing up. And I think that's the He Who Remains character showing up because it's basically like reincarnation, baby. Um,
mhm.
so it's that whole starting off the multiverse war. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see Renslayer and Kang um that battle, that fight we're going to do. But it's a really interesting thing because this is where they leave it open because you don't know is like because this is the whole thing with what we were talking about with the trial where the trial if the trial goes one way they can easily just pivot and make it another variant, Kang, but another variant of Kang, just a different variant of Kang. And then this is and then especially where they did OB with the book, where OB's making the book and he's going to pass out these new handbooks. But then and again, like this is again where I feel like you're setting it up. So I think you could again use Ke Kwang, and I'm going to go back on my thing where I think Ke Kwang's going to be the villain, but which I
I
would
don't
love.
want Ke Kwan to be a villain though. He's too pure. But we have guys, we have a special guest. He's in the background to give his thoughts on Loki season 2. It is Mr. Mike Shea.
Hi.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Mike.
Look, might
How
as
you
well.
doing?
I'm good. I wasn't sure if I was going to get to see it tonight, so I was like, I don't know. I'm not going to commit to coming on until I know I can watch it.
Yes.
I literally just finished watching it like a couple minutes ago.
Thoughts.
Thoughts?
I was lukewarm on season 1 of Loki. It's one that like upon rewatching, I've appreciated more, especially seeing how it fits in the grander scheme of everything. And I'm on the record of I've thought season 2 has been an absolute blast. I've
Mhm.
I've had a great time with season 2. I've had some of just the most like evocative reactions to certain episodes of this show, particularly the endings. Y'all, some of these endings were straight up disrespectful. Okay,
Yes.
like I want to be very clear. I felt personally attacked by some of these cuts. And then we had this episode, which decided to pull a Return of the King on me and make me think it was ending about 7 different times, each one more disrespectful than when it did that first cut to black, when Sylvie was like, he's giving us a chance, and it went to black, I pointed at my TV from across the living room and I said,
Don't you dare.
dare. Don't you fucking dare. I was so glad. Seeing Loki become the god of stories on screen was magical. Seeing him form Yggdrasil himself and sit on the throne, earning a throne sit the likes of which Black Adam failed to do spades over.
Yes.
Yes.
The was absolutely stunning. I will say I will push back only slightly on the thing about like Sylvie. She had so much screen time and so much time devoted to her backstory in season 1. When you look at a lot of shows, season 2 tends to be your let's expand the side characters kind of thing. Like Ted Lasso did that then beautifully, where season 2 was like, oh, let's talk more about Sam, let's learn more about Colin and about all these other guys. So I think that because Sylvie was basically the co-lead of season 1, I think they were kind of like, we'll use her where we need to use her, but we can have more time dedicated to introducing Obi and Victor Timely and learning more about how the other, just about the science, we'll call it, of the TVA and how this works.
Science,
just because this is one, and I've said multiple times on this channel, getting really tired of the shows that can't stick a freaking landing at the end.
Yes.
I am, and I sat down and I booted this up and I was just like, please, I'm begging you. I need a win this year. I need after Ted Lasso really let me down, at least.
You're not alone, Mike.
Man, this show stuck it. I am so happy. And what it made me think about too is, and I know there's been a lot of mixed, let's call it, criticism towards the MCU post Endgame. And what I'll say is this: when you look at the timelines of the Infinity Saga, and when like the grand scheme of things finally started to kick into gear, we're at that point now with this new saga.
Yeah.
Like everything up to this point, I've been saying it since No Way Home, since Shang-Chi. It's like we're back at square one. We're starting over fresh after Endgame. It's gonna take us a while before we start actually like building out whatever the hell the big threat is. Well, we're there now. We started getting there with Quantumania. We started getting, and we really hit it there. Like the interdimensional war, the multi-dimensional war is coming. That's Secret Wars is coming. We know that's coming. So this did such an excellent job, I think, of setting up for yeah, Loki, the god of stories. The god that in and of itself evokes the idea of, we're going to do whatever the hell we want now, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be comic books in live action. I think we need to remember that sometimes. Is like, these are, at the end of the day, extensions of comic books. This is how comic books tell stories. I love the thing remember about the 616 comment is when Owen Wilson, when Mobius mentioned, he doesn't just say 616, he says the 616 adjacent dimension. So it's their way of saying like we're not on, the MCU isn't necessarily on 616. It's basically it's like Kingdom Hearts. It's a spin-off of a spin-off.
Right.
God, I hate those games. So frustrating. I don't know. Anyway, so we're playing, this is the multiverse saga. So we're going to start playing we're playing in the multiverse, and we're starting to see where the things that have come before are finally starting to have repercussions on the MCU. And I think we're going to start seeing that come a lot more and more now, because this was kind of the hurdle I think we needed to get over.
Yeah. I definitely, when I finished this episode, I was like, did I just love a final episode of a Marvel show?
I'm blown away.
But
I had to think about it for a sec. I was like, okay, is this a good finale or is this the best one we've gotten?
Right, and that's the question that I had, Mike. You're hitting it right on the head. You're hitting the nail right on the head. Is the fact is this the best one that we've gotten so far? So our expectations have been lowered so damn low that we're gonna if it sticks, it basically just it pops it. It might have a hard landing, but at least it hits and lands hard. But at
Yeah.
least it lands. Like, are we gonna call it like it's a mediocre landing, but it's still a landing nonetheless?
Well,
Like that's my whole thing.
let me put it like this. Okay, like I joke, but like there have actually been some pretty good my adventures with Superman.
Oh,
We weren't. I wasn't. We were mid strike when that was going on. So before we knew we could do animation, otherwise I would have. My adventures with Superman was one of
I
the
love
best
that show.
seasons of television
Yes,
that I watched this year. And it was a show that I had no idea was even existed. And my buddy Matt Hassel that I do the Batman podcast with was like, "Hey, did you know about this Superman show?" And I was like, "No." And I watched it, and I was floored. So I want to be clear. It's not that I haven't had good finales. It's just like when you look at like the big Disney shows in particular, because also Ahsoka's finale. I wasn't here to talk about Ahsoka at all. I no notes on Ahsoka. Sorry. I got nothing. It's so good. So we've had good. So I would say we've had enough good for me to still remember what a good finale is supposed to feel like, which I think is why the bad finales have hurt so much. It's like, guys, I know we can do better than this.
Yeah.
You set up for so much better than this. Why are
Right?
you ending like this? Like, oh my God, Secret Invasion. That one hurt. That one hurt so much.
I will say,
did we talk about? Was I here for Secret Invasion finale?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
That was the last
it.
thing you did. That was the last thing you guys did. I will say this. Like, I will say this. When they jumped back into the season 1 finale, I was like, oh shit, are we seeing She-Hulk part 2? Like She-Hulk finale part 2. I
Yeah.
was like, I had a moment where I was like, oh God, please no, 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 no. Like, and then I was like, thank God they didn't do it. But I was just like, sweet baby Jesus, did you guys not learn your lesson the first time? But just like, but at least I mean, it's, I want more. That's yeah, I don't trust them. I don't. You're like, if you guys are they're like, I know
But
what
is it
this
a
is setting
good
up.
I want more or is it a bad I want more?
For me, it's a good I want
It's a
more.
good I want more.
That's
It's a
for
good I
me.
want more. But the thing is, it's like I'm being hesitant because I don't want them to fool me. Like they've
Yeah.
done it before where I see where they're going and then like it's the same stuff with Marvels. Like I'm gonna go see Marvels this weekend. I'm hesitant as hell because I don't know what I'm gonna walk into, and the reviews are all over the place. But I'm like, oh God, please no. Like just
Yeah.
I don't trust them yet until they have like consistent like um are consistently good again. That's the part. Like you need to earn my trust back.
Hopefully here with this season 2 of Loki, them sticking the landing with this finale, for me at least, and for Mike. Jason, have you figured out if it stuck the landing? Because you weren't sure how you felt yet, but
I'm gonna give this like if I had to rank this on like a scale of like 1 to 10 or like one of those, I'd give it a 7. Like
that's
it's
good
one of those. It's
ranking.
like and I feel like it's better than I thought. I like my expectations were low, so it was one of those type deals.
Mm,
Loki sitting on the trope being the god of stories and like the tree got me, and I thought the tree was fabulous. But
yeah,
like and your setups are good, but it's just you're getting some potential, but
yeah.
you're kind of I see like you're going in the right direction, but it's just like
I was gonna say,
I need some
hopefully this
consistency.
is the start. Hopefully the Marvels is fun. It looks fun in the trailers. I think it will be a fun movie, even if it's not like a great movie. Hopefully it could be one of those where it's like, I had a good time.
That's what I want to
And
be entertained. I want to be entertained for
yeah,
that movie.
I also
and
feel like a lot of people are going into the Marvels just already counting on it being bad because they
right.
already just hated Captain Marvel so much,
Yeah.
and so they're going into this predisposed to just rag on it, which bums me out because like
I liked
J-
Captain Marvel.
I've watched
First
Captain
of all,
Marvel.
I like
Yeah.
Captain Marvel is a much better movie than people give it credit for. I
Yes,
want to be
Yes.
exactly.
absolutely clear. I think
Especially my
everything.
wife's cut. My wife's cut makes that movie so much better.
Just
Like, oh, it's just so it's so good.
His
Yeah.
wife has a rom-com
Rom-com
cut
version of
of
Captain
that
America,
movie,
a version
but
of Captain
Oh my
America First
god,
Avenger.
I would
Captain
watch
America
that in a
First Avenger,
heartbeat.
it's a rom-com. It's so great. It's fabulous. Yeah.
But yeah, I know people are already like going into the movie ready to hate it, and I'm hoping that that the love people had for Ms. Marvel, the finale notwithstanding, will help carry that in. And I've seen some of the early reviews. I honestly, I'm at a point in my life where I could give a crap. Like like look, because you get movies like Blue Beetle, which are a blast and a
fantastic.
half, and make no money at the box office, and then you get you know look, anyway, I'm so
Yeah.
tired of
That
these
trash of Black Adam.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that
Boggs
movie,
liked it, but that movie was
also
trash.
bombed, but it should have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But yeah,
look,
but you also look at like people like said Guardians 3 was so great, and I was just literally throwing my drink, and I would literally, if I was at home, I would have thrown shit at a TV. Especially with
you're insane. Guardians 3 is amazing.
the post credit scene pissed me off so much.
Get out of my get out.
Why are we?
Thank you, Soul. I thought he genuinely glitched out for a second. I was like, oh god, that's amazing. Then I
He's
forgot.
back, y'all.
I
He's
forgot
back,
Soul has
y'all.
control. This is so
By
good.
the way, like Mike, I can say it on screen now because I can say it to you in person.
Yeah,
Fucking Hassan Minaj video was honestly like I loved y'all's video. I
I'm
loved it so much. I loved it so much.
still
Oh,
so angry.
oh,
Still so mad.
you and me both, my brother.
Anyway,
But
Anyways,
like,
to end
but-
this video, we
wrap
can talk
up
about
Loki
we can
season.
talk about Hassan Minhaj after
Look,
we finish wrapping this up.
I know you guys talked about it long before I got here, so I won't double bag on anything. I'll just say I was so floored with this. I can never remember the name of the actress who plays Sylvie, but first of all, like, marry me now. Second of all, she is gorgeous. I like every time she's on screen, I'm like, I don't care about anything else happening. It's
she's
just,
British.
and there's that too. Like, it's just but also like
I mean, a
she's
British accent, man.
it's just man, right down.
Why
the
do you
spine.
think we keep Boggs around?
That's the only reason. But she's also she is such a freaking tour de force on the show. Kiho Kwan, I can never say his name right. I didn't know I needed that in my life as somebody who still has not seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. I am a busy guy.
I know.
Bite the fattest part of my ass. I'm a busy guy. I do a lot of things. I was editing a lot of videos for this channel when that movie came out. Okay. All the development that I saw with Mobius and B-15, truly some of the most horrific things. I mean that scene from episode 4 where Miss Minutes just beef jerkies an entire room of people is going to live rent free in my head for a bit. The dripping. Oh, why the dripping? Oh God, the dripping was oof. Loki season 2 was great. It was so good for me, and that it stands out for me as somebody who has enjoyed most of what Marvel has done, unlike most people. It stands out for me for sure. So I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to come back and talk about the finale of the season. I'm glad we were able to get through the strike and all that in time for this. Thank God. Could have used this when Ahsoka was on, but
right,
whatever.
But at least I got what they needed. I got what they asked for, which makes me happy. But Mike, I do have to ask you one thing. Renslayer being picked up by something in purple, like purple light.
I figured that was a Goliath. Remember the smoke monster from Lost?
Yeah.
I thought that's that. I thought it was just her. Like, I don't know. What I did notice though was it focused on the grass being brushed back there. I think what that was.
That was the symbol from the floor.
That's what I was so scared. That's what it looked like. It's like, so what you're saying is that what they're setting people basically to the end of the sacred timeline. It seems like.
Yeah.
Like,
to me, I was just like, is this what like the TVA becomes? Like, if he time glitched and if you go far enough in the future, like the TVA is gone and it's like grass grew over it, kind of like The Last of Us style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm super like, man, I don't know where they're going next, but I'm buying the ticket. I'm in.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to our special guest. He's back, guys. Thank you to Jason for holding down the fort with me, making it so I didn't have to review these alone. We've enjoyed Loki season 2. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Thanks for watching it with us. Thanks for commenting, liking, subscribing. We really appreciate you guys. So
Yes, we do.
thanks
Thank
for
you
being
guys so much. Seriously, we're closer to 300 than I thought we'd be by the end of the year.
yeah.
So, like, thank you for that.
Tell your friends.
Seriously, guys, like, come on. Especially now that the strike's over, like,
Do this.
come on.
You want to see that beautiful face like all the time?
No, don't do that. No, see, now we're gonna lose them. Now we're gonna lose. Now the numbers are gonna go down. So why
Do you
really
want to hear Bogz's British accent?
There you go.
There we go. We got
That's-
him
yeah,
back. We
you-
got him back.
yeah.
Do we want to hear more about Mike's rants on about comedy? Yes. We want to hear more
Yeah.
Mike's rants on
Well,
comedy.
anyways.
And Mike needs to review shows that he missed during the SAG strike.
Well, anyways, we're not going to put extra stuff on Mike.
No, we're not.
But
No, we're not. No, we're not. Mike will go away again.
But will I try to end this for 5 minutes? Yes. But
Are you having a hard time there, Soul?
We'll
a
just
little.
time slip. We'll time slip
I
back to the
think I
beginning.
just need to do this. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for being here with us, and we'll see you next time.